What's up to all my faces out there? Ooh, man, oh man. I just had to come on here and make a video for this one because all day long, I keep getting notifications. Will the Dallas Cowboys make a trade for Maxx Crosby? I kept on hearing about George Pickens from the Steelers going to the Cowboys. I didn't think it was going to happen. And sure enough, it happened. And then there for a minute, we talked about Micah Parsons, being traded, this and that, what's going on with the contract, what's taking so long and all that, And then those rumors talking about the Packers. Packers were involved, and I even texted my boy Adam James, please, Packers, please get Micah Parsons, and he laughed about it and all that. And sure enough, it happened. So now I keep seeing Maxx Crosby from the Raiders all day long. And I even heard talks, a few days before. Is it going to happen? I love these first-round draft picks for 2026 and 2027. We got 4 total, for those 2 years. Because, of course, first-round pick for the Cowboys, 26 and 27. But we got the Packers first-round pick, 26 and 27. So that's 4 first-round picks total. And I really want to have those draft picks. Just to have that fresh, young, new start, of players coming into the league, and having a new look, you know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, I'm happy with those draft picks. But at the same time, this is what I love about this situation, because at the same time, I'd be happy about Maxx Crosby. Because, man, he would help out the defense a whole lot. And I was thinking for a minute, we hear Trayvon Diggs, on concussion protocol or whatever, you know what I'm saying, yesterday. And then now today, or something like that, Brian Schottenheimer was asked that question about Trayvon Diggs, and he quickly answered, same, concussion protocol, didn't practice, he made it real quick and moved on. It sounded pretty fishy. And I'm hearing that Trayvon Diggs is selling his house. And I was thinking too, Trayvon Diggs probably whacked his head on the for sale sign and got a concussion or something like that, But, it's just a thought, just a question. Is Trayvon Diggs going to be involved in this trade and get traded to the Raiders, with one of our first-round picks, and Maxx Crosby comes to the Cowboys? Something's fishy. Something's going on. It's always rumors, stuff never happens. But, man, I feel something cooking for this one. I could be wrong, but I see a lot of Cowboys fans excited, about this trade if it would happen. But we'll see. It's kind of like, it's either have those draft picks or make one of those trades, because I would say, because you're going to have to give up a first-round pick for Maxx Crosby. He's that good of a football player. And we gave a third-round pick, for 2026 for Diggs. I mean, not Diggs, I'm sorry, for Pickens. And then 2027 was a 5th round, with George Pickens. But if we were to give up a first and a second and Trayvon Diggs for Maxx Crosby, our draft would just have one first-round draft pick, for next year, first-round draft pick, and then we wouldn't have no second round and no third round. So next year would be first round, and then we got to wait all the way to 4th round, for a draft pick. But either way, You know, a lot of times, then, when it comes to situations in almost every Cowboys football season, we are always in a win now mode. It's never a rebuild mode. We always think there's going to be a rebuild, but there's always trades. There's always something going on to where we want to win now. You know, and our offense is lit this year. We need that defense to, you know, we need to shoot up a little bit of that defense. Maxx Crosby will make a big difference. You know, it's like, what do you want? The draft picks or Maxx Crosby? I don't care. I'm happy either way. You know, I was happy about trading Micah Parsons, getting those two first-round draft picks. And if we were to give up one of them to get Maxx Crosby, I'm happy with that. Because then, you know, 2027 would have 2 draft picks. And who knows what Jerry Jones would do, you know, with one of those draft picks next year. We're in a good position, you know, to make moves like that. I heard Jerry Jones, you know, before say, yo, we're open for business now. You know, I mean, he's said a few hints, but then at the same time, he says, oh, we're good, you know, and stuff like that. But I like this either way. You know, like it's like this, you know, I love hitting flea markets, you know, Peddler's Mall and stuff like that, you know, because you just never know what you're going to find, you know. It's, you're going in and you like this nice dresser. Okay, this nice dresser is Maxx Crosby. You know, either you want to buy that nice dresser or you want to go or stick with the draft picks for next year, you know, or the next, you know, for the next 2 years. You know, and I know at some flea markets or Peddler's Mall, they'll have these brown blank boxes. They call them mystery boxes. Small boxes, you know, $30, you know, medium is like 50 and large is like 80 or whatever, you know. Just say that dresser is, you know, $150, you know what I'm saying? And you want that $150 dresser, which is Maxx Crosby, or you want to go in and spend $80 on one of these mystery boxes, you know, because you never know what you're going to get out of a football player coming out of college. Because a lot of first rounders can be a bust, and a lot of first rounders can change that football team. You know, you just never know. But we'll see what happens. But my thoughts on this overall, whoa, yeah, I'll take Maxx Crosby. And if we don't, we still got those draft picks. So either way, we are in good position. But do us Cowboys fans want to win now? Of course. Of course. I'm out of here. Let's go Cowboys. We'll see what happens.